In this WrestleTalk news, major changes to a Royal Rumble title match, a top AEW star is battling visa issues, Vince McMahon is back at Titan Towers, and more. Subscribe and enable notifications to Always On for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
With the Royal Rumble just days away, one would have to imagine that the majority of the card is now set in stone, or as set in stone as you can get in a place whose favorite phrase is card subject to change. However, it appears that the match card wasn't always going to be what it ended up being, with major changes being made to WWE's women's title matches. Currently, Bianca Belair is scheduled to defend the Raw Women's Championship against Auntie Howdy, Alexa Bliss, while SmackDown Women's Champ Charlotte Flair doesn't have a match as of this writing, but has been feuding with Sonya Deville in recent weeks. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select has reported the entire women's title scene at this Saturday's premium live event could have looked drastically different, with the original plan being for Ronda Rousey to defend the blue belt against Raquel Rodriguez. That was the plan as of early December, but this match ended up being moved up to the December 30th episode of SmackDown, with Charlotte Flair returning and winning the title off Ronda on the same show. The other interesting tidbit to come out of this report is how far the changes reach as a result of this change in direction, as Fightful also reports that at the same period, Charlotte Flair was tentatively scheduled on a suggested matches list to wrestle Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. Rhea Ripley was set to take on Rousey, but that's when Rousey was still champion. It isn't explicitly stated when that proposed match between Ronda and Mommy Rhea Ripley would be, but the report does state that those familiar with the situation claim that Rousey was presented with several creative options, but they didn't work out. Not sure if that's in a we can't find a good reason to get Rhea on SmackDown kind of way, or in a that doesn't work for me brother kind of way. Regardless, the decision was made to move the title from Rousey to Charlotte, moving the proposed Raquel match from the Rumble to SmackDown, giving Raquel all the more time to practice smiling and being uber excited to be in the Royal Rumble match. Maybe one day this Vince McMahon saga will finally end. Maybe. As for the current moment, however, PW Insider has further confirmed that McMahon has returned to Titan Towers, working from his old office. It is unclear whether the T-Rex skull is still in its original place. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter had reported that Vince was back in Titan Towers as of a couple of weeks ago, with this new report from PW Insider stating, while there had been rumors of him being sighted at the tower all the way back to his retirement last year, this is the first confirmed sighting of McMahon back to work that PWInsider.com can confirm. What this means for the company remains unclear for the moment, but many signs have pointed to Vince wanting a more hands-on role with WWE since his return earlier this month. This week's episode of AEW Dynamite will go down as one of the most emotional shows in the company's history, with Mark Briscoe taking on Jay Lethal in honor of his brother Jay. If you have been following along with Briscoe-related news, you will know that the brothers were not allowed on AEW programming as part of a decree from Warner Bros. Discovery, and that decree did not change until the last minute. AEW was only given the green light on Tuesday to include Mark Briscoe in the show, meaning changes had to be made to the rest of the card to accommodate the new main event. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select has reported that the TNT title match between Darby Allin and Buddy Matthews was originally planned to be the main event of the show, and had to have some time cut to make room for the new main event. The only other segment of Dynamite that the report notes had its time cut was the Acclaimed and the Ass Boys 2023 video, with the report stating that one source had told them it was impressive how they were able to provide Mark Briscoe and Jay Lethal as much time as they needed without compromising anything else that was advertised, while others they spoke to said they were very happy with the show. One member of the AEW roster who reportedly wanted to be at the show but couldn't be was IWGP United States Champion and AEW World Trios Champion Kenny Omega. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select reports that Omega wanted to be at the event but has been battling visa issues which kept him from being at the show. Omega hasn't wrestled on Dynamite since winning the Trios titles alongside the Young Bucks on January 11th. He also hasn't wrestled for New Japan Pro Wrestling since January 5th, where he teamed with former rival Kazuchika Okada, a reality that still makes me melt with glee. Hopefully Omega will be able to get his visa situation sorted soon, or else who knows, we may just have to gift the Trios titles to Death Triangle until he gets back again. Just in case you had forgotten, this COVID thing isn't going away, no matter how much we would like it to. Unfortunately, WWE star Doudrop has been dealing with a nasty bout of the virus, which she previously confirmed is the reason for her absence in a reply to a fan on Twitter. Now, she has opened up more about this battle in an interview with Denise Salcedo of Instinct Culture. In the interview, she said, "I'll be around. In what capacity? I'm not going gonna tell, but I'll be around. I've had some time off to deal with a health scare that I had. Luckily, that's all it was. It was a scare. Everything was always great. Sadly, I got COVID real bad. The symptoms I was having, they were concerned about my heart. God bless them, they took the best care of me. They got every test for my heart they could muster, and every single one of them came back clean as a whistle. Much to some people's annoyance, my heart is in excellent condition. Doudrop has not competed in WWE since she teamed up with Nikki ASH to beat Toxic Attraction's JC Jane and Gigi Dolan on the September 6th episode of NXT. From all of us here at WrestleTalk, we wish Doudrop, aka Piper Niven, a speedy and full recovery. Over in Impact Wrestling, the returns just keep coming. In this case, the return of a former Impact and WWE star, that being Tara, better known to WWE fans as Victoria. On the January 26th episode of Impact Wrestling, wrestling head honcho Santino Marella assigned a mystery partner for Giselle Shaw as she attempted to wrest the Knockouts tag titles away from the Death Dolls, the team of Taya Valkyrie and Jessica. That partner ended up being former Knockouts champion Tara, who made a return to the ring for the first time in 2 years, with her most recent appearance coming in the 2021 Women's Royal Rumble match. Because you can never trust a spider, Tara turned on Giselle before the end of the match, hitting her with the Widow's Peak and allowing the Death Dolls to get the win. All Elite Wrestling is facing a different bit of legal trouble as well, as the company and Luchasaurus are being faced with a lawsuit over the design of Luchasaurus's mask. What mask is that? That's a dinosaur. WrestleNomics has reported that mask designer CFX sued AEW and Luchasaurus, real name Austin Madelson, in United States District Court, Eastern District of Louisiana in December 2022, with CFX seeking profits that AEW and Luchasaurus have earned in the use of their Viper silicone mask in merchandising, as well as damages and attorney's fees. The report states that according to court documents, Luchasaurus was able to use the mask as a performer, but CFX retained the merchandising rights on the design. Merchandising, where the real money from the wrestling is made. A version of the mask is currently available for sale on the CFX website. CFX also stated that they had attempted to sign a licensing agreement with Luchasaurus in 2019, and even designed a new mask, which AEW bought the rights to in 2021, but was never used. While not exactly the same, there is a somewhat similar precedent in recent years with Randy Orton in WWE being sued over Orton's tattoos being featured in WWE video games. While Luchasaurus doesn't have this design tattooed to his face, although what an idea that would be, the court did rule in the favor of the tattoo artist, meaning there could be a precedent to rule in the favor of the mask designer here. One of the most original finishes to a match we saw in 2022 was the finish of the main event of Ring of Honor's Final Battle event in December that saw Chris Jericho get too dizzy to continue and be forced to tap out in the middle of Claudio Castagnoli's giant swing. The finish caught many people off guard, as it had never been done before on such a stage, but now Jericho has explained the thought process behind the planned finish. Speaking on the WTF with Mark Barone podcast, Jericho said, "We have for years been trying to figure out how to get out of that move, because when he does it, people react. When he stops, the people come down again. I've been working with him since WWE. We could never figure out what we were going to do. Finally, this giant swing would work in this spot. Then I was like, can I tap out? So I had him do it to see when you're swinging, can I move my hand around to tap out? I was tapping the mat as I was spinning around, but what a great way to go out." Jericho had been the ROH World Champion since beating Claudio at Dynamite Grand Slam, but has since turned his attention to Ricky Starks and Action Andretti, while Claudio has been defending the title on Dark Elevation against Josh Woods and Blake Christian, as well as against Christopher Daniels on the ROH Jay Briscoe Tribute Show. Make sure, of course, that you keep it locked right here on WrestleTalk this weekend for all of our coverage of the Royal Rumble, and make sure you check out our live reactions where I take my Jam That Championship back from that dastardly Luke Owen.
Most women's eliminations.
In men's Rumble.
No way!
Yeah.
That's
Not in the women's at all.
That Gallows storyline going. Returns in Rumble.
Not in Rumble. Enjoys nice catering.
Gunther mid-air elimination. Slaps him out of the air.
Over that. Flips Braun over.